浅村くん。
The romance, harem, and ecchi genres have been going wild lately. Like, for real. I couldn't believe it when I heard about some of these crazy weird shows like My Little Sister Can't Be This Cute, My Stepmom's Daughter Is My Ex, and don't even get me started on my life as Inukai-san's dog. But just when I thought all hope was lost for the anime community, I found a show that I believe is about to save the romance genre. Without wasting any more time, ladies and gents, I present to you Days with My Stepsister. Asamura's world just got flipped upside down. His dad's getting married again. The old man drops the news, warning Asamura that things are about to change big time.
父さん、再婚することにしたんだ。
Specifically, he's getting a new stepsister. They're meeting her and her mom for dinner, and Asamura's dad tells him to make a good impression. So, he pulls up and introduces himself to two blonde women. One's the mom, and the other, the hottest girl he's ever laid eyes on, Aasi.
親父。ああ、さきちゃん、お前と同い年なんだって。
Turns out she's 17, and her birthday's just a few months before his. After dinner, the kids step outside for some air. Aasi wants a quick chat before their parents join them. She keeps it 100, telling him not to get any ideas about trying to hit. Asamura straight up tells her he wasn't thinking about it. Well, maybe a little. The next day, Asamura welcomes Aasi and her mom to their new home, helping them haul their shopping bags inside. He shows Aasi to her room and helps her unpack, which is when he finds out they go to the same school. They make a pact to act like they don't know each other when they're at school.
でも、なるべく学校では他人のふりするよ。
別に。
Asamura's phone buzzes and he's off to work. After his shift, he gets home and finds Aasi still chilling in the living room. He hits the shower, then lets her know it's her turn. The next morning, Aasi dips for school before Asamura. At school, Asamura spots Aasi sitting solo, and his boy Maru fills him in on the rumors about her getting seen at those Diddy's parties.
してるらしいんだよ。売り。
Later, during sports practice, Asamura finds Ayase chilling alone by the tennis court. He plops down next to her, and they chat about why she's always flying solo. After school, Asamura heads home first and runs into his stepmom, who asks him to keep an eye on Ayase. When she gets home, Ayase asks Asamura if how he handles both work and school. He gives her the rundown, and she asks if he knows of any easy part-time gigs where she can stack some quick cash. He promises to look into it, and they start talking about those rumors.
自分の体を大切にした方がいいと思うんだ。
私は私のこと大切にしてるよ。
Ayase explains she dresses like Ice Spice just to flex, trying to stand out from the crowd. After dinner, Asamura offers to help her find a job, and Ayase feels bad for putting him out, so she suggests cooking for him in return. He agrees, and the next day, on their way to school, Asamura saves her from almost getting isekai'd by a truck and gives her a piece of his mind for being reckless. Ayase's friend Maya drops by her new home and meets Asamura. Later, Ayase apologizes to Asamura, explaining she tried calling him before Maya's visit, but he wasn't picking up.
ごめん。マーヤ、新しいお家に遊びに行きたいって言い出して。
The next morning, the whole fam has breakfast together, and the kids head to school in the rain. After school, Asamura gets home and stumbles upon Ayase's underwear. Mortified, he tries to make a quick exit, but Ayase catches him. She later shows up with some hot cocoa and asks if he was tempted to hit when he saw her undies. Asamura swears his meat didn't even react.
俺、もしかしてからかわれてる？
さ、どうだろうね。
The next day, during tennis practice, Maya asks Asamura if something's going on with Ayase since she looks down. Later, he shoots Ayase a text asking if everything's okay, and she replies it's nothing. At dinner, Asamura updates her on the job hunt, saying he hasn't found anything yet, but that she can ask for cooking help whenever. After dinner, Asamura heads to bed, reading when the lights suddenly go out. Ayase climbs on his bed, trying to recreate a stepsis, stepbro episode. But this weirdo decides he doesn't want to add fan service to the show. They end up sitting up and start talking about how much they have in common. Asamura tells her she can call him Big Brother, and they agree to work on their sibling bond, which is such a refreshing change from the usual drama you see in shows like this. The next day after school, Ayase asks Asamura for help with modern literature, and Asamura agrees to give her a hand. After dinner, he tries to help her understand her lessons better by asking if she's ever been in love. Ayase admits she hasn't, then flips the question back on him. Asamura denies it too. They both agree that having zero romantic experience doesn't mess with their grades. By the end of the study session, Ayase can answer the questions right and thanks Asamura for being a solid teacher.
ありがとう。教え方、上手だった。
そんなことないよ。
The next morning, Asamura tells her not to worry about making breakfast for him so she can focus on studying instead. He then hits up Maya for advice on how to help Ayase study better, and she suggests that listening to music could help her concentrate. Later at work, Asamura fills in his colleague on his plans, and she helps him find some music genres that might work for Ayase, recommending background tunes. When Asamura brings up the music to Ayase, she immediately clocks that it was his colleague's suggestion.
あの人でしょ。美人で博識なお姉さん。
Asamura's colleague invites him to catch a movie after work since they both clock out at the same time. He's down, and after the movie, she tries to make a move on him by dropping the classic "I only have 6 months left to live" line, straight from the movie they just watched. Asamura pauses for a sec, then calls her out on the cap. It's one of those beautifully awkward moments you don't see often in romance anime, leaving you wondering if bro's gonna realize she was just making a move on him and how he'll play it. Back at home during dinner, Ayase asks Asamura if he's dating his colleague since they went to the movies together. Asamura downplays it, saying they're just friends. The next day, Ayase swings by Asamura's workplace and meets his colleague, Shiori, who's super hyped to meet Asamura's stepsister. Shiori tries to convince Ayase to join them for another movie, but Asamura quickly vetoes that idea. Instead, he hands Ayase a key to get the books she needs. Later at lunch, Ayase overhears Shiori and Asamura chatting about her, which probably makes things a little more awkward.
後輩くん、これガチなやつかも。
綾瀬さんは妹ですってば。
After school, Asamura's about to dip when Maya stops him. Ayase pulls up behind Maya, and they all decide to walk home together, since Maya's heading to Ayase's place to help her study. When they get home, Asamura takes the lead on cooking dinner, but Maya hops in to help and even shows Asamura a few cooking hacks. After Maya leaves, Ayase devours the fire dinner and promises she'll ace her test.
応援してるよ、綾瀬さん。
ありがとうね、浅村くん。
After a long day at school and work, Asamura comes home to an empty house. When the rain starts pouring, he rushes to grab the laundry and starts folding it. He shoots Ayase a text to ask where she's at, but she doesn't hit him back. Remembering how confident she was about the test, he grabs an umbrella and heads out to look for her. Just as he's about to bounce, he bumps into Ayase walking in the door.
ごめん、大丈夫？
浅村くん、どこか行くの？
She asks where he was going, and he admits he was worried she might be out alone and feeling down. She gives him a proud smile and flashes her test score, 94, just shy of his 96. They head back inside, both feeling relieved. The next day at work, Asamura does a double take when he sees a familiar face pass by. He asks his manager who the girl is and is shook to find out it's Aasi, his new coworker. The next morning at breakfast, Asamura and Ayase's parents are shook when they realize the two still call each other by their last names.
例えば、ゆうた兄さんとかしっくりこないから。
Their mom suggests Ayase start calling him Big Brother, but both of them shut that down real quick. Based on how these two act when they're alone, there's no way she could call him Big Bro. It's clear she really wants to see his meat. The whole bro thing was the only thing holding her back. At work, Shiori and Asamura peep Ayase struggling to find a book. Shiori gives Asamura a little nudge to help out, so he steps in. After work, Ayase thanks him for the assist. The next day, Asamura gets a call from a friend asking if it's true that he's been invited to the pool by Maya and Ayase. Asamura plays it cool, saying he doesn't know what they're talking about. After work, while they're walking home, Asamura asks Ayase about the pool invite. She's curious about who let that slip and tells him he's welcome to come if he wants.
正直、明るい人たちとのプールは浮く気しかしなくて苦手かな。
Asamura declines, and Ayase admits she's not really feeling it either. Asamura asks Ayase's mom if her daughter gets annoyed when people make plans for her without asking first. Her mom confirms that it's a major turnoff for her. Asamura then does the dumbest thing you could do to someone who clearly likes you, asking for her friend's number.
だから奈良坂さんの連絡先教えてもらってもいいかな。
やだ。
She refuses, saying she needs to ask Maya's permission first. On his way to work from cram school, Asamura runs into Shiori, and they chat until they arrive at work. They're both surprised to find Ayase waiting outside. After work, Asamura heats up their dinner, then asks Ayase again for Maya's number. Ayase agrees but says she'll give it to him later. Realizing his mistake, he clarifies that he's not interested in going to the pool himself, but wants Ayase to have some fun and relax. Joking that he was just trying to make her jealous by asking for the number, she ignores that, hands over the number, and takes off.
勉強するから。
The next morning, Asamura takes over breakfast duties since Ayase didn't get much sleep. During breakfast, Ayase suggests they hit the pool, and Asamura says they'll need to swap shifts with their co-workers to make it happen. On their way to work, Ayase tells Asamura that walking with Shiori puts her in a bad mood, and he should let her know if they start dating. He reassures her that they're just friends. Ayase then gives Shiori a glowing review, calling her kind and beautiful, and says it would be dumb if he doesn't make a move on her. Ayase heads to the pool with Asamura, feeling more at ease with him by her side because he's a people person. She's impressed by how he always makes sure everyone's having a good time, which makes her both proud and a little intimidated.
なんだかちょっと誇らしく感じて怖くなった。
Sitting beside Asamura at the pool's edge, Ayase encourages him to join in on the games, but he declines, not wanting to be the center of attention. As Ayase joins the others, Asamura watches her smile and can't help but think about how often he's thought she looked adorable. It hits him. He's developed feelings for her, which is clearly something you shouldn't feel about your stepsister. But wait, is it actually a bad thing though?
どうしてよりによって彼女は妹だ。
On their way home, Ayase shares that she used to love swimming as a kid. She stops walking, and Asamura stops too, about to say something when fireworks interrupt the moment. Watching the fireworks, Ayase praises Asamura for being thoughtful and reliable, like a big brother.
いいなって思うよ。兄さん。
Asamura is snapped back to reality by her words, reminded of the boundaries they need to maintain. The next morning, Ayase's mom is stoked to learn they all have the day off to spend together. Ayase decides to keep her feelings for Asamura hidden for their parents' sake. She takes off, and by the time she returns, Asamura is awake, and everyone's admiring her new hairstyle.
ただいま、兄さん。
Asamura is so captivated that he's left speechless. When Asamura and Ayase get home from school, they're greeted by Ayase's mom, who's surprised to learn they've kept their step-sibling status on the low at school. She asks them to schedule their parent-teacher meetings on separate days so she can attend without blowing their cover. But Asamura and Ayase decide to schedule them on the same day, thinking it'll be easier for her. In class, their friends suggest a study group, and Maya offers up her house as the spot. Meanwhile, at work, Shiori teases Asamura about missing his shifts with Ayase, but he just shrugs it off, saying she's only his stepsister. Later, while shelving books, Asamura meets a girl named Kaho who recognizes him from cram school.
夏期講習以来ですか。
そうですね。
After that, he heads home for dinner with his dad. Asamura tags along with Ayase's mom to his parent-teacher meeting, where his teacher goes off about his academic potential. Ayase's mom is over the moon when Asamura calls her mother and can't stop hugging him. Next, she heads to Ayase's meeting, where the teacher gives her a hard time about her daughter's outfit. Ayase mentions wanting to go to a college with affordable tuition, and the teacher suggests a super competitive women's college. She encourages Ayase to check it out. The next day, Ayase visits the college and bumps into Shiori.
うちの大学見に来てくれたの？嬉しいな。
While they're chatting, a teacher named Kudo walks up and asks if they know each other. Shiori explains they work together. Kudo takes one look at Ayase and says she seems troubled, inviting her to her office for a chat. In the office, Kudo reveals she knows about Ayase's feelings for her stepbrother and tells her it's not a good idea. Meanwhile, Asamura meets up with Kaho at the study lounge. Over dinner, Ayase fills Asamura in on the weird professor she met and mentions that Shiori attends the same college. She asks if he'll keep hanging out at the study lounge, and Asamura says he has a lunch meeting with a friend. The next day, while Asamura is at the study lounge, Ayase meets up with Maya and her friends. Ayase walks past a restaurant with a guy from her class carrying bags of food. Asamura can't help but stare at her through the window. He suddenly snaps out of it and turns to Kaho, asking if she said something. She shakes her head, saying she didn't, and then tells him she's worried about him. She thinks he's running from something, and it looks like it's related to love. Asamura is shook. How did she figure that out? Kaho explains that she can see the pain and tension on his face and that bottling it up isn't doing him any favors. She invites him to hang out after cram class, and he agrees. Meanwhile, the guy with Ayase tries to shoot his shot, but she shuts him down hard, saying she wouldn't date him even if he was the last guy on earth.
ごめんなさい。私はあなたをそういう相手としては見られそうもない。
That night, Kaho opens up to Asamura about her past, sharing how she lost her parents and how it made her lose faith in humanity. She warns him that if he keeps bottling up his feelings, he'll end up scarred for life. Asamura thinks he can't be selfish, but Kaho hits him with the truth that feelings are always selfish. The next morning, Asamura confesses his feelings to Ayase over breakfast.
特別な感情を持っているみたいなんだ。
She brushes it off, saying that siblings can catch feelings like that when they're starved for affection. Just as he's about to respond, she gets up and rushes to her room, tears streaming down her face. Asamura follows her, knocking on the door until she opens it. She pulls him inside and tells him she's okay with his feelings, whatever they are.
私も多分その荷物は分け合える。嫌じゃないから。
They make a pact to keep their sibling relationship intact in public and promise to face whatever comes next together. Days with My Stepsister takes you on an emotional journey where you really feel what the characters are going through. It makes you question your own morality, like what's right and what's wrong. You even start wondering if a step-sibling relationship counts as incest just by seeing how two teens' lives are flipped upside down as they try to make sense of their relationship. This is the kind of romance anime the community needed, something fresh and a snap back to reality, with zero fan service. I really think this anime is going to blow up even bigger than it already is. If you loved the video, make sure to like and subscribe.